Hi Taurus, welcome to your February 2020 reading. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's dive in. King of Wands coming out, signifying your energy, specifically Taurus. You know, as I'm looking at these cards and I'm sitting and kind of feeling my way through it, I feel like the King of Wands is someone who has this very fresh face. A fresh outlook, and is perfectly happy, perfectly content to move forward without having all the answers and without understanding why something happened or why someone did something to you or why someone passed away or whatever it is. And the King of Wands is sitting in a heightened state of wisdom, as you'll see with the Hermit in the very center of the card. And it is because of this willingness to not know, or this willingness to not have the answers, which is really what opens you up in a really profound way. And I think the word profound is especially relevant to Taurus because of all the ninth house activity that's going on, right? This is the house of understanding. It's ruled by Jupiter, which is the crown chakra up here. It's all about the most elevated knowledge, the most, of course, optimistic as well, but it's very high level philosophy. And I think an acceptance of what is without trying to dig it open is really important. Even though we have Mars in the 8th house right now, I sense that Taurus is using the Mars energy more toward money, more toward the material stuff, because we know that the 8th house has a lot to do with money as well. And there's a lot of money cards coming out, so you'll see why I'm saying that in just a minute. The environment in which you're operating is in the sun, which probably feels really refreshing, and you might not necessarily feel like the sun is around you right now, or you might not necessarily feel like your path is entirely illuminated. One thing I like about this deck excuse me, which is the new Palladini deck, by the way, for those of you who want to know, is there's a lot of nighttime skies in this artwork. So you may feel like you are in the nighttime, and yet you still have the benefit of the full moon. You have the benefit of the light of the sun reflecting off the darkness. So it's not as though you're completely at this blank slate, because all the things that you've really experienced recently and all the places you want to go, they're all like so intrinsically connected that you know, and there's just this faith that it's gonna work out. The sun is the most optimistic card of all the cards, the most forgiving, the most gracious, and the most compassionate. So whatever mistakes were done, they're done. It's officially in the past, and there is no turning back. The only thing that you can do now is simply either change a behavior, change a circle of friends, get rid of certain people or whatever, and just modify your energy so that you start to attract the things that you actually really want in your life. Now, as we get into the 9-card block, actually, we got a couple extra cards that fell out, so you guys are going to get 11 cards, which is, I guess, fitting, number 11, right? Very first cards that we got, 5 of Swords reversed and the 3 of Swords. And I think whatever has happened in your life, whatever, if there has been any drama or not, it's irrelevant. It's just kind of like your story up until this point. It is giving you a clear field. The people, I think Taurus has been really, really good lately about cleansing their associates, right? Getting rid of the associations that just are simply not healthy. And in so doing, you may feel like, oh, well, now I don't have anyone, or now I'm kind of like empty, or now I don't really have anything to do on a Friday night. But yet at the same time, you feel really confident that you're doing the right thing. And the space that you've cleared is kind of like an empty field. So now the field is really ready to, you can plant whatever you want now, because there's not all this messiness. There's not all of this drama, or you're not like having to go through the same motions, have the same conversations. Like there's nothing about the sameness. Like all the sameness is kind of dissolving into the past, and you are revolutionizing, as we can use that word, all for like the next 7 years, because we've got Uranus going through your sign. But you're really revolutionizing the way you live your life. And that includes a lot of your goals. And I think Taurus is being really ambitious right now. See, and I look at this Queen of Coins and I see her asking herself, now that this field is empty and it's still fertile because it's me, what do I want to plant? And you're being really honest with yourself, which is great. And you are being harsh with yourself, which is also great, because now you know that it's really time for you to like actually reap those rewards. And you're being harsh with other people, I think, a little bit too, not in like a super mean kind of way, but it's just very direct honesty, as we can always rely on our earth signs for that. Direct honesty, and really declaring what you do and do not want. And you're really drawing the line in that sand with the universe. Because I know that Taurus is fed up with certain things, and those things do not belong in your new crop. They just simply don't belong. So the Queen of Coins, because she knows that whatever she plants is going to be fruitful, and there are plenty of cards out here that suggest a great deal of success. So she knows that whatever she does is going to work. It's going to bring in money. It's going to bring in love. It's going to bring in health. So what does she want to do? And she's going to pick only a few things, but those few things are going to be extraordinarily beneficial, okay? And they're going to propel her growth in a great way, quickly. So the story kind of bounces around a little bit. You'll see when I put the cards down. I'm going row by row, but I know we just held up the, hold on, let me get these cards, sorry. I know I just held these up. These are like the first two cards. And then directly underneath these cards, we get it like this. It's like situated in this manner here. So I look at this Hermit. This kind of is like its own story in and of itself, with addition of 2 more cards. And I look at this Hermit and I say he's looking at that Ace of Swords. And this is where the true wisdom comes in. And I said this a couple months before. Taurus is really becoming the philosophers of the zodiac because of the 9th house stuff. And we're going to be having Mars coming through there later on in February. So it's like additional Jupiterian, Sagittarian kind of a mind, kind of thinking. Sagittarius always known for thinking. And this is the wisdom in accepting the lack of knowledge. The wisdom in looking at that Ace of Swords and saying, it's okay that it's not upright. It's okay that I don't have the truth. It's okay that I don't have all the answers. And it's the strength, it's the courage to move forward in spite of not knowing. And again, it's not knowing about what's to come, because I think Taurus has a lot of faith in the future. It's not about that. It's the faith in knowing that all the stuff that doesn't make sense will eventually make sense, and it will eventually connect the dots. But right now, it's not worth any time or energy or effort in trying to figure out why this happened, or why this person ever came into my life, why this circumstance happened, why I got fired, why whatever. It doesn't even, I'm kind of going to the negative, but it doesn't even have to go to the negative, right? Figuring out even the positive things that happen. You don't need to spend time. And that's where the wisdom of the Hermit really comes in. You may be taking on a little bit of Hermit energy as you are in this state of trying to figure out kind of what to plant in your field, as I see with the Queen of Coins here. King of Rods or King of Wands, he is all about the big picture. And one thing that's kind of a theme for the month is where we kind of have this extreme going on, where we have this desire to put together the grand vision. And I think all of us, to some extent, have a cloudy idea of what this big vision is. But we're all being forced to really face the day-to-day because it's Capricorn season. We can't escape the little mundane earthy things that like remind us that we are of the earth, that we're not these ethereal spirit beings floating around. Like, no, we're very tethered to this body, very tethered to this planet and this vibration. So we have this, okay, I want to be all in this like cloudy, amazing space, but I still have to go through the day-to-day. And the Hermit is the wisdom, like, that's okay, right? That's a beautiful thing. And because you're an earth sign as well, I think there's a comfort in that. There's a comfort in knowing that you can really only go one day at a time. So it's not really worth any extra energy or effort. Hermit, great deal of wisdom, great ninth house activity kind of planet. And I know that we're moving into Aquarius season. I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of focused on like the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto thing. Sun comes into the 10th, and even that's a Capricorn house, right? It's Aquarius, Saturn ruled, Uranus ruled. Like there's all this achievement-based kind of stuff going on, but with the reminder that you still have to kind of do the work, which Taurus is more than willing to do. Now, I'm going to actually go down because, like I said, there's like two columns. The first two columns are kind of telling the one story of kind of really where you're coming from. And again, it's the drama, it's the confusion, it's the feelings of lack or feelings of not deserving. It's feelings of rejection. It's feeling as though maybe someone else didn't validate your wants or your desires, or they kind of shut you out in some way, shape, or form. And maybe Taurus was the one doing the shutting out, but like out of necessity, you know, out of protection, for the protection of the dream. The Five of Coins is very much about kind of a state of like, oh, this kind of sucks. You know, like, man, this doesn't make me feel that good. This doesn't make me feel like I'm thriving. I just feel stuck. I feel stagnant. It's kind of, ugh. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with feeling like that, because it's actually that kind of feeling that then motivates us to move forward. And we're always waving in and out, right? The world is always in this constant state of adjustment. So while you may have the Five of Coins, you also have the Nine of Coins, which comes out in the second row directly underneath the Queen of Coins. And this represents the extreme of like maybe where you're coming from, but also where you're headed. And they give each other meaning, you know, and you could never really understand or ever really appreciate what the Nine of Coins really is until you've experienced the Five of Coins. It's almost as though, you know, you've got some super privileged kid with a lot of money, never really had to work, you know, can never really appreciate and feel a true sense of gratitude for what has been given to them if they haven't experienced poverty and lack and scarcity. So it's important to experience both. I think the state of the universe and understanding the abundance of the universe, you know, it's more intrinsic, it's more wired in with Taurus energy, because it's so much about the having of things. And that's a wonderful thing. But be sure to express the gratitude for where you came from as well. Be sure to express the gratitude for the hardship, because it is exactly that hardship that has given you the wisdom that is going to take you to where you need to be. So this is absolutely where you're headed. Like I said, you're staring at the blank field right now, but there's no question in my mind that you are going to, it's not just reaping a little bit of reward though. It's not just like a little bit of money. It's not a little bit of love. It's like the whole enchilada. The moon energy coming out as the last card seems to be, it's reversed, which I think is a good thing. You have the contrast again of the moon and the sun, same thing as the full moon in the card here with the sun. But of course we know how much more brilliant the sun is. So whenever you have the sun coming out, it always will knock out the darkness, and it happens immediately. And I think the sun also represents the wisdom coming through here, the wisdom of It's okay that I don't know. And it's like the minute that you accept that and the minute you step into that way of thinking is the minute that you begin to feel the sun on your face and you begin to see things happening in your life, because it's that opening up that occurs when you come into that acceptance. Taurus is not blocked. I do not see Taurus being blocked. If you are dealing with a problematic Taurus or someone who is not really wanting to change or not really wanting to grow, they are simply stuck in the focusing on trying to understand what happened, and they're focusing on all the failures, and they're just focusing on completely the wrong kind of thing. I think Taurus really wants to find freedom in their life with Uranus in their sign. They want the freedom, they want the novelty, they want the interesting, stimulating life. And Taurus is going to go right? Taurus, I always say Taurus is like my mountains, like it's these huge blocks of earth that have taken millions and millions of years to form. But when they decide to change, everybody feels it. And I think a lot of people are going to start feeling this really massive shift in Taurus's life. It's like earthquake kind of stuff. So when you step into the light, you can never really go back into the darkness ever again. You can never really see this as a problem again. You can never see the drama as something that is bad, because it truly made you who you are. So for that, you must be grateful, right? Right? Now, I told you that there were a couple more cards that came out, that fell out actually right after I was getting the cards off to the side, and these just slipped out. So I was like, okay, well, they clearly need to be out, and you'll see why. Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Coins. Again, stark contrast to the 5 of Coins. The two sides of the coin. And we know the Wheel of Fortune is always a blessing. It's always bringing in the good karma. It's always bringing in the good things that you're seeking in your life. So the wheel is turning over, and it has been turning over because you have been turning over. And the more and more you let go, which is it's such ninth house stuff. That's why I keep saying it. And as Mars is going to go through the ninth, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be let go. You're just not going to care. It's like one little petal off the rose after another, until eventually you're kind of left with a rose with absolutely no dead petals whatsoever. And the rose itself, the new fresh blossom, is going to be this new life that you somehow weirdly created. And I think you're going to step into this new life, and you're going to be like, this is so weird. I know I'm responsible, but how did this really happen? And it might be a little confusing, but of course the credit is all yours, because you were the one that did the work. You were the one that went through the stuff. So, like I said, the reward here is not just a little bit of reward. It's like a lot of stuff coming out. And I think 2020, all year, it's going to be one kind of surprise after the next. And it's probably going to be a lot of good surprises, So this is super exciting. Let's go ahead and put the camera down, and we'll pull out the clarifiers for you for the comprehensive reading, and a couple of oracle cards for the King of Wands. All right, see you in a sec. Hello, Taurus. Okay, so here's how the cards all came out, plus the additional 2. So you can kind of see how these first 2 columns here are that story of the acceptance, that story of not really knowing and being okay with that. So let's pull out a couple of oracles specifically to clarify this King of Wands energy, which is so visionary and so big picture, which is working in tandem beautifully with this Queen of Coins energy that you've got as well. So what is the moon energy for the King of Wands here? Balance, spirituality, and practicality of full moon in Pisces, which again has a lot to do with the extremes. And for some reason, a lot of us are having to be in each extreme simultaneously, almost like to be in the big picture space and to be in the mundane space, to be in the sunlight and to be in the moonlight at the same time. And that's the beautiful, like, Taoist way. It's being truly in the middle, being truly balanced. And spirituality, right? The high level, etheric, spiritual, purpose driven, meaningfulness, with the practicality, which is very earthy, which I think you have down pretty pat, you know, although Uranus could be kind of trying to shake you up a little bit, and it's that anxiousness, that antsiness for change. But ultimately, with the power of Taurus, your ability to accomplish and achieve is bar none. So let's go ahead and see what comes through with the Psychic Tarot. One more card for this King of Wands. Authority. Wow, beautiful. Number 4, again, 4 we love. We're working into a world number 4, right? 2020, 2 plus 2 is 4. And it's so much about foundations. It's so much about solidifying things, getting things going. There's an element of work, but there's a strong element of power as well. There's an element of strategy, and you have to know where you're going if you're going to be able to do the day-to-day kinds of things. And I sense internal strength from Taurus. This is coming from truly the inside out. It's coming from your gut. It's coming from that solar plexus, that third or yellow chakra. It's coming from a state of heightened awareness, as we see with the halo here. And it's your gateway into this beautiful, blossoming, beautiful rose. Okay, now let's go ahead and start pulling out the clarifiers. For those of you who are new to my channel, these cards we'll talk about in the comprehensive reading for about 20 to 25 minutes. The link will be down in the description box down below. So let's take a look at this King of Wands here. Oh, King of Cups, a lot of kings, king energy, great. This is kind of like an emperor energy here. Yeah, the only reason a Taurus is going to get stuck is if they're afraid. And what is there to be afraid of? King of Wands reversed. 6 of Cups. 7 of Cups. One more for that, I think. Okay, beautiful. We love a 3 of Wands. You're kind of on this individual journey, whether you're coupled or not, whether you're at a company or not. Like, I don't care what your external circumstances are. You are on a highly individual journey right now. This is about you. Beautiful. Wheel of Fortune, see? The 3 of Swords gives you the Wheel of Fortune. The 3 of Swords is the source of the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, wow. Dang, that's a lot of queens. Okay, we're going to need a little bit more information than that. Let's pull one more. Okay. Magician. All right, we can do that. We can deal with that. Let's look at this Ace of Swords here. Emperor, beautiful. I see Taurus's mind being so much at rest. Because I think on some level you're tired. But one thing that Uranus does is it gets us all riled up. It gets us feeling all anxious. It gets us feeling like we got to make all these changes. But it also makes us feel exhausted with things that have been going on for a little too long. It makes us feel drained. It makes us feel kind of pulled down a little bit. And it's because of that pulling down that we wish to launch, right? Again, the extremes. equal and opposite reaction kind of deal. Oh my gosh, you guys, seriously? I can't even. This is so amazing. I can't even. Remember that this journey is not about anybody else. So as you feel like you need to move forward, it's not necessarily because you have a safety net. I think, Taurus, you have to be accepting of the fact that there is no real safety net in life, and you can't make a decision based on someone else. You have to make the decision for yourself, because it's something that you truly want, because it's something that you are fed up with. Wow, every single queen came out in this second layer of cards. The moon, okay, beautiful. Oops. Okay, page of coins reversed, which indicates that no one's going to give you anything. This has to come from the gut. It has to come from courage, right? Authority, the Emperor. It has to. Chariot. And I'm not going to clarify these because they're like pretty obvious, but we'll probably still talk about them a little bit. One more for the Sun. Okay, and we get a card of Taurus there. Beautiful. I'm going to leave you guys with that. All right, so if you want to join me for the comprehensive, again, the link will be down in the description box. Thank you all so much for everything. I wish you nothing but the best. Have an excellent Aquarius season, and I will see you soon. All right, thanks. Take care.